everybody, welcome back. Today I am making my college football predictions, and yeah, there were a lot of postponements. I believe 5 games in total, 4 top 25 games. As I'm currently recording, the BYU Houston game is in halftime, so that's exciting. That's been a good game, and SMU Tulane earlier tonight was really good. So I'm going to do all my top 25 predictions, and I'm going to go down the bottom because I saw one game that really intrigued me that I recommend everyone to go out of their way and watch because I think will be a great game. But we're going to start off with Virginia Tech and Boston College. Boston College beat Pitt last week. I was really surprised they did. I did not have high hopes for Boston College, but Kenny Pickett, injured, missed an extra point in overtime, which is just gut-wrenching loss. I overall just see Virginia Tech winning this. Virginia Tech battled against North Carolina. They came back, but they ultimately lost North Carolina. But they came back and battled. That gave me a lot of confidence in this team moving forward. Virginia Tech, I think, is on the way up. They've done very good the past couple of years, reestablished themselves. Just not on North Carolina or Clemson's level in the ACC. Kentucky at Tennessee, and I'm just going to take the Volunteers. I have not been impressed with Kentucky that much this year, and Tennessee has not looked that bad throughout the year, especially in their loss to Georgia. Just didn't look that bad. They have a lot of talent, and they're on the rise. They are a quarterback away from possibly contending for an SEC East title. I don't think they're ready to compete with an Alabama, but they're getting there, and that's very important for Jeremy Pruitt. I think they get back on the winning track, though. I think they beat Kentucky handily. Auburn at South Carolina. Now, I've been debating this game, and I'm actually going to say pick the underdog in this game. I think South Carolina is going to win. Auburn's offense just does not inspire confidence in me at all. Bo Nix has not looked great, and just their offense just hasn't inspired confidence in me. Could that be bits and pieces from the Georgia game? Absolutely. That game was bad for Auburn. It was awful. There's no way you can put around it. South Carolina hasn't been the best team, but I think they have enough tools to beat Auburn, especially because they're hosting it. It's not like they're going to Auburn. They're in South Carolina. They don't have to travel. They're more comfortable. I think South Carolina edges it out by like a field goal. Pitt at Miami. Now, at the beginning of the year, I probably would have taken Pitt, but seeing how Pitt is on the downward track, I got to take Miami. And DeAndre, I'm going to mispronounce his first name because I always get it confused, but King has been great for Miami. They got destroyed by Clemson, but everyone gets destroyed by Clemson right now. I think overall Miami is a better team than Pitt, and Pitt's got a lot of questions right now. Do they keep Pat Narduzzi? Do they keep their OC? I've seen a lot of that going around. Ultimately, I don't think they're there yet. Kenny Pickett has been great for them. I just don't see this team winning in Miami. Like in Pittsburgh, maybe a different story. I could see Pitt edging it out, but Miami, that travel, Hurricanes, dead heat, especially coming off a bad loss. Miami's going to come out and they're going to get the win. Oh, and also, Pitt is coming off a heartbreaking loss. Losing the game because you missed an extra point in overtime, that's just heartbreaking. It'll be interesting to see how those two teams handle their losses. I do think Miami wins handily, though. Texas A&M at Mississippi State. Now, this is a game that I don't think will be close. Aggies pulled off a great upset at against Florida and A&M. Mississippi State has not looked good since week 1, really. They have been downwards and downwards and downwards. This has not been good football for Mississippi State Bulldogs. I ultimately think the Aggies are a better team. And I think a lot of this is people overestimate KJ Costello, especially after week 1. I remember seeing back in April, May, a first-round mock draft, and it was right after the NFL draft, or maybe it was right before it, but I read KJ Costello to the Pittsburgh Steelers. I was laughing, because I didn't think KJ Costello was even a draft pick at Stanford, and I don't think he's a draft pick at Mississippi State. He's just not special, and Kellen Mond, even though I don't think he's that great, I think he'll be drafted. I think he's a better quarterback. I think he's a day 3 pick. He'll have to fight to make a team, but with his athleticism ability, I could easily see him being like a Taysom Hill guy. He's a tremendous playmaker, and I think the Aggies win handily. North Carolina at Florida State, and Sam Howell, he's been playing great in North Carolina. Their running backs are clicking. Everything on this North Carolina team is clicking, and it shows why they hired Mac Brown. Mac Brown is a great coach. He got fired. Whatever happened in Texas, I can't remember if he got fired, if he retired, whatever, that whole thing. Whatever it is, North Carolina got a steal, and he took his time off. He got rejuvenated for football to coach again, and he is working with North Carolina wonderfully. I mean, who would have thought North Carolina would be a top 5 program right now? I wouldn't, but hey, that's props to Mac Brown and their whole their whole staff just recruiting, building this team, and it's off to a great start, and I think they beat Florida State pretty convincingly. Louisville at Notre Dame, and Louisville, however you want to say it, I say Louisville, I say Louisville, either or. They have not looked good. This team has not looked good, and I've been saying that about a bunch of these games. They have not looked good. The Cardinals have been bad. They lost to Georgia Tech, and Georgia Tech, even though I don't think they're the bottom tier feeders in the ACC, they're not there yet. They're not real good. I don't consider Georgia Tech good. I just think Notre Dame wins this easily. The Cardinals just aren't good this year, and it's weird to see because I'm used to the Cardinals, at least since the Teddy Bridgewater era. They usually are consistently good, and it's just kind of weird to see this downward slump. Georgia at Alabama. Now, this game is interesting. Nick Saban tested positive, and as of today, he is tested negative. I believe you need 3 negative tests to be able to return to the sideline, return to things were really for him to be back in the locker room. I don't know if he'll have those or not. I don't know if they'll have enough time to get 3 negative tests in. I think they've only done 1. I could be wrong. But this Georgia team is good. This Alabama team had issues against Ole Miss. I'm just going to come out and say it. I think Georgia wins. And I don't think this is a blowout. No, I don't. I think this is a close game. And Alabama could easily win this. Georgia could get in their own heads. Like, this is a game that Georgia must win, it feels like. Because every time they are playing against Alabama, they have a big lead and they blow it. They could get in their own heads. If they have a big lead and it starts slipping away, they might go, oh no, we're back in this again. And Alabama could easily come out and win. But I just think Georgia has a talent. Stetson Bennett has been a surprise, to say the least. And Georgia's always got great running backs. Their defense is always really good. Georgia is good, and I think they can beat Bama, especially if we don't know who's their head coach entering the game. Clemson at Georgia Tech, I'm just going to say Clemson big. Georgia Tech's not there yet. And the game that caught my eye over everything else, this was the one I said, this will maybe be the best game on Saturday. UCF and Memphis. And you probably hear that like, what? Why? And I'll say this. Every time I see UCF and Memphis play, it's always interesting. It's always fascinating. Either something big happens. Either they go to overtimes or there's a big comeback. It's just fascinating, and I love watching these two teams play. It's always a great game, and I saw not much from UCF, and I have not seen that much from Memphis. But I will say this. I'm taking Memphis. Just because they're in Memphis. This was in Orlando, I'm taking UCF. But Memphis, I think, will win. Just due to that home field. Just due to that familiarity. They will win. But hey, thank you guys for listening to this. And hey, if you want to check out my 32 3-word game for the first quarter of the season, hey, please check that out. And hey, my NFL picks tomorrow. And I'll be recapping a little bit from the earlier weeks. Just some of my thoughts I saw going around. But hey, have a great day and peace.